Good afternoon. We'll move on for the third panel, and which will deal with the educational program in Europe and in general. And we brought a few of the experts in Europe to discuss and bring several points about this topic. And the first speaker is going to be Alois Saria. He's representing the Human Brain Project. He's the leader of the educational program, coming from Innsbruck University. We'll have Menno Witter coming from Norway, who is the chair of the Education and Training Committee of the FENS. And the next FENS meeting is in 3 weeks or so. So hope to see you, at least part of you there. And then we have Daniel Bouzou from Bordeaux, who is heading the Neuroscience program, which is a master program, international master program running in Europe. And I will finish representing some other concept. And I would like to invite Alois to start this session.
Well, thank you, Uri, for your introduction, and again for hosting this workshop here at Tel Aviv University, which we from the Human Brain Project have been shaping together with the colleagues from Tel Aviv, and we find this very important to get also the project started, to inform you, especially the young students, about this program, and letting you know what is planned in this project and where we see the developments going, and also where we see the challenges in this project. So I'm going to talk about the plans and the initial strategy for the education and training program in the Human Brain Project, and what we are planning in the next 2.5 years to implement something that meets the needs of the future students within this project, but also outside the Human Brain Project. So this is just a sketch of the global perspective of the Human Brain Project to give you an idea of the scope of this project, which has a plan going for collecting data from the fragmented environment, cure this data, create knowledge from those data, and eventually lead to an understanding or better unifying understanding of the human brain in probably 10 years' time or so. So what you should derive from this is just to see that this is a very complex, very big, global, collaborative effort that also, of course, provides a number of challenges for people working in this project, especially young students, young scientists. The core project activities come from very different disciplines, as you have already heard yesterday. And the primary goals are to develop and operate 6 platforms, making the tools, the HBP tools, methods, and data available to the scientific community. So there's a very clear and plan and clear objectives and a clear roadmap to reach these goals. And this is what the European Commission has decided to provide the money for. When we come to the education program, we have defined primary objectives that are tailored to the needs of the project itself. So we have in this project, we'll have PhD students, for instance, coming with a background from physics, from mathematics, from biology, from medicine, from molecular sciences. So we have to think about teaching HBP sciences for non-specialists to HBP researchers, to provide the young scientists who have an academic background in these different disciplines with an appropriate introductory education in one of these disciplines other than their own. A second major objective is to teach also complementary topics to HBP researchers, to provide the young scientists with all these complementary skills required, which start from ethics, social impact on research, intellectual property rights is a big issue, and also the translation and exploitation of the research results. And finally, as a third major objective, is also to make this HBP education also available outside the HBP, to make this transdisciplinary and complementary education available to the broader scientific community, which will be necessary for future scientists. In order to develop a strategy, we have defined certain elements of the program at the moment, which is a website that is integrated in the HBP website as a coordination tool for the program and offering educational material. And then part of the strategy is to develop a curriculum that is really tailored to the needs of the Human Brain Project and to fostering transdisciplinary education and training on these platforms, with the goal of finally providing ECTS credits for the PhD students, which is important as an incentive for students to enroll in such a program. And then we will coordinate and organize webinars and online material for the education website. This we find important because of the huge number of partners in the project, about 110 at the moment, and the dislocated places all over Europe and partially also outside of Europe. In addition, we still think that at certain points, for various reasons, we might want to discuss later to have complementary physical workshops like this here, because we think that current tools also need to include blended learning methods, also face-to-face meetings, discussions, and for other purposes as well. So we will have complementary workshops. Then we have planned to organize an annual summer school, again as a concise training event that should rotate through the main themes of the project: future neuroscience, future computing, and future medicine. And then we will also, out of the Education Program Office, coordinate and support HBP partners for applications to other EU educational programs, such as the Marie Curie, ITNs, fellowships, and so on, because that's funding that cannot come out of the core project with the constraints the European Commission puts on this project. So the strategy is to provide a framework for an achievable education program, and it's based on a set of strategic choices that have been made after reviewing the constraints that influence the project and also its educational program. So the strategic choices, considering the constraints, are at the moment that the education program, at least in the beginning, will focus primarily on the introductory level education and training for non-specialists. It will prioritize HBP researchers and platform users in the beginning over external audiences. The primary tools for online education is planned the MOOC-type internet webinars, online seminars, or whatever you would call it, and the platforms themselves, because they are the major research areas, and they automatically also provide the opportunity of online access. The syllabus, even though a majority is going to be taught via online courses, must include physical workshops for complementations, We can only make limited demands on students and teachers, and the sub-projects will be beneficiaries and providers. So in a way, the big advantage of education in the Human Brain Project in that sense is, besides it's a challenge with so many partners, it's also an opportunity because basically the major experts also for teaching would be found within the program. We have implemented already an advisory program. This is what we find very important also to have all the experts in different disciplines and sub-projects present. So this advisory committee serves several purposes, defining contents and advising the education program office so that all the disciplines are properly represented in this program. The education website for HBP students has already been set up. There's a lot of functionality already available. From this list, what is listed in blue is already implemented, and there are a couple of functionalities which are in gray. This has not yet been implemented, but is planned to be implemented in the next year or 1.5 years or so, so that we have at the end of the so-called ramp-up phase in 2.5 years, a program implemented that can be run together with the core project in the so-called operational phase. The curriculum will be defined, as I mentioned, for ICT for non-specialists, brain medicine for non-specialists, neuroscience for non-specialists, and in this table is just shown the contribution of different sub-projects, which I don't go into detail, but these are the sub-projects that provide the complementary topics and themes for the particular target group. And then, of course, a structure for the curriculum of these complementary topics I was talking about. Now, for the discussion later, I would also like to mention the challenges we face, which I think are the major challenges. There are more than on this list, but major challenges I see for this is, first of all, how do we select and teach the teachers? That's a big issue that is normally when we discuss about curricula and education programs not always talked about, probably colleagues don't want to talk about. But I've been recently talking with the president of the Society for Neuroscience about online education and so on, and Carol Mason told me actually the students are not their problem because the SFN is also setting up something like that, online courses. The problem is the teachers. So she confirmed that. So how do we train the teachers to do this correctly? Then we need to discover what the students need from different disciplines. We have an idea. The senior scientists do have ideas. But I think it's a good idea to go back to the students and ask them what they think they would really need. And this is also something I would ask you to provide input here or wherever during the HBP project and approach us if you wish. We need to find incentives for teachers and students. So what can be the incentives for teachers for accepting the additional burden we want to put on them? What is the incentive for students to follow an HBP curriculum? What are the credits they get? And bridging the distances between 100 or more partner universities and get them involved in HBP teaching. So who has the infrastructure for these online courses? What about the IPR rights? Do we get them from the universities? How can we build networks for exchanging credits from different HBP partners? So these are all questions we need to address, and we will address, and try to find a solution in the next 1.5 years or so. And then we have a number of financial constraints. There's no way around that. The Commission will also only provide limited funding for education, so we need to find additional resources that need to be acquired, and certain cost categories like fellowships, technical infrastructure, and so on will not be eligible to pay from the core budget of the HBP. So we need to find other funding opportunities and open other channels in order to be able to implement what we want to implement. So this is what I wanted to present in brief, and I hope that we will receive your contributions to these challenges and topics. Thank you. I think we can go ahead with the presentations. So it's the next speaker is Menovita, the chair of the Education and Training Program from the Federation of European Neuroscience Societies, and FENS has just restructured, as far as I know, the entire training program. And I know it's an exciting program, and there are many opportunities for students, and I'm excited to hear from that.
I'll try to explain a little bit. Let me just